Well, welcome guys to our flawlessly running Hitbox stream, which has kind of caught
Never
us off
happens.
guard. I'm not quite prepared for this, so we will sit and have a moment of silence for the next 15 minutes until I can get back to a place where
Regular time to start.
I can collect my thoughts and have a regular start time like normal. But thank you guys for joining us. It's been a very busy week for us.
Oh, I spoke too soon. I'm back to twirly man with earphones. Oh no, maybe it's back now.
Oh, oh, yeah, it's back.
Okay, yay.
Nope, we're still having 10 minutes of silence.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not joking. Okay. So can you guys hear us now? Just another confirmation just to make sure we're not robots and people can understand us and everything is actually working.
Yay. Everyone says yes. Except Tier who says no.
Uh, Tirv lives in a third world country. He doesn't count. Uh, we've had a busy week this week. Been doing all types of fixes and a lot of back end things to, you know, increase with the load as well as fix the counselors. I've spent a lot of time on the counselors in the past week. It's taken up a good bit of time to get everything working, and the biggest issue is that there's 30,000 cities. So if you look at the amount of processing time it takes to do to run through 30,000 cities and process all the trades and the buildings, because you have to kind of loop in the buildings with the trade, because if you're not visiting the city, it has to calculate what buildings were built so it can tell which resources are gone and what troops it's built so it can tell what resources are gone to see what it needs to send. Is Marty having issues with her volume? Did she clean her ears out today?
Yeah.
Is our sound okay for everyone else?
And Gold Wolf says that we're cutting out.
Um, does he have fresh batteries in his hearing aid?
All right, Tears said it's no cutouts. Same with Funny.
Well, we'll
Gold
have the
refresh.
Keep calm and refresh.
Yes.
uh, so
You should definitely ticket that Tier. If everything is
Yes.
working, there's something wrong.
yes, when we start getting a bunch of tickets saying everything's working perfectly, what the hell's going on? All right, so the thing with the trade counselor is that when you're processing 30,000 cities, which is what the current amount that are on the map now, um, each one takes a amount of time to process, and you've got to process the builds, you've got to process the troops, so you've got to process everything inside that city. It's basically like if you were in the city. It needs to run that kind of process to calculate how many resources have been used, to see how much trade you need to come in or out. And you know, as much as I've optimized, about the base of it is about 50 milliseconds um, per city. So if you think about 50 milliseconds, that's you know 0.002 of a second, which is pretty much blazing fast. But at the same time, it's slow when you're counting 30,000. So we've got a bunch of them running in tangent, um, which still runs about 2 minutes a piece for five. So it's about 10 minute cycle. I think other games were about a 15-minute cycle. So I think we're doing pretty good as far as the cycle rate goes on the trade counselor. Um, I also made it so that the troops that queue up will show like half built, so people don't get confused anymore with the troops not looking like they had just started. So that was one of the things that I'd put in, as well as I put in a balancer so it created the correct amount of troops based on the mix that you had in there. So it more or less takes a percentage of the amount of troops that you have in the city versus how many should be built, and then sorts the list by the lowest percentage to the highest percentage. So if you've got 50,000 Vanks set up to build and it's got 10, then it's going to have a higher percentage than if you've got 8% or 8,000 Triari and you're trying to build 10.
So it's never going to be absolutely perfectly even, where it does 5 of one and then 5 of the other.
No, it should be. It should random out, but it's not going to be 5 of one and 5 of another. It would be depending on the amount that's missing. So if you've got it's going to build kind of in the ratios that you set. So if you set, 100,000 Vanks, 10,000 Triari, and 10,000 Rangers, then it's going to build 1 Ranger, 1 Triari for every 10 Vanks it builds.
Okay. That makes actually perfect sense. That's the way I would want them to recruit.
Right. So that way, at all times you're going to have the ratio mix of in there. So I'm not sure if that's what the issue is with that people are seeing. I'm going to have to dig into that more with maybe like tickets and things. I can say that I've been testing it on my own little crappy build city here. And I guess right now I've got almost the same number of Rangers and Triari that have been built.
So the best way to ticket that would be to screenshot your defense counselor settings, then screenshot your enlistment box to show us what you actually have enlisted, and then put your tickets in if you don't think it's doing it right.
Right. So like on mine, the amount of Vanquishers that are needed are much higher than the Rangers and Triari. So it's going to build Vanquishers a lot more frequently than it is the Rangers and Triari, but it should still build them in the same kind of ratio. As you can see, the ratios are kind of the same there.
Yeah.
Marty says, and actually I think I've heard other people saying this in the game chat too, that while other units are enlisting fine now, there's a problem with galleys.
There's one issue with galleys that might be the problem, is that they're not enlisting until level 7 shipyard instead of level 6 like they say they should. And that is on the bug list.
Maybe that's the
So
issue.
a couple of the people that I've had say that, their defense counselor isn't making galleys, that's been the problem. So that might be it. I don't know, Marty, what yours are. Okay.
Frank Rizzo says he has level 10 and it's still not doing it.
Okay, so
Would it be
might
something to do with
TS?
using the TS rather than units or something?
It could possibly be that maybe because the number is so significantly higher that it's not giving as much weight to the galleys, because that would actually make perfect sense. If you've got 200,000 Vanquishers and you've got 500 galleys, and it's going to build 1 galley for every 500 Vanquishers.
It's going to count the unit instead of the TS. And I don't know if this helps, but when you go into idle troops and you have ships, it counts them as units, not TS. In the War Counselor raid tool for idle units. Yep. I have it for sloops. They show up as units. So it looks like a very small amount of idle units when in actuality. I have 156 Stingers, but the TS on that is much higher than 156, of course.
I didn't know that. I'll add that to the book list now.
Well, I'll take a look to make sure. Technically the ratio should still work. Because 1% of 500 is the same as 1% of 200,000, so it should be working fine. But I'm going to take another look at it and see if there's something going on with galleys, why it's not working.
So, Tier has a good question. How much does the current state of processing require if you think about an almost done server on normal speed? And we're almost right there, aren't we?
I would say that what we're doing now as far as processing would be about the same as a completing server, just because the 2 times resources, 2 times dungeon raids, trades are moving a lot faster, a lot more. you're able to fill your hubs a lot faster. So you're also shipping a lot faster. So I'd say, you know, I don't know, what's the rankings looking like? I'd say, the average server probably ends with the top 10 having, 500 cities plus, maybe 400. And then, pretty much everybody below them in the top 100 or 200 have about 100 cities each, 200 cities each. So it looks like we're right about at that point where the top players would have 250 and the bottoms would have, around 200. So I'd imagine by the amount of cities that it would take, we're probably there, and the trades are probably double. So I'd say we're pretty good on the load. Um, but I mean, just to let you guys know, let me pull this up real quick, because it always astounds me the numbers um, when I'm looking at them, how many things we're processing, um, and this will probably help people when something lags behind a few seconds to see why. But currently, right now, we've got 139,556 commands out in the game.
That's a lot of commands.
If we look at raids, raids would be 21,160 raids out at the moment.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's a lot of rates.
And trades, which are always the highest, are 114,242 current trades going on at this moment. So the ability to process 114,000 trades and make sure that the res is deposited in the city and that the carts, turn around and go back and calculate the right times to go back, and then they, go back into the city when they're done, and if you canceled, you get the resources back. It's just it moves very fast, but even at very fast, 114,000 is a lot. So if it took half a second for each one of them, which it doesn't, I've probably got it down to a tenth of a, probably a half of a tenth of a percent, so 0.02. Um, Even then, it still takes a minute or two to process through all of those different trades, and they don't all hit at the same time, which is a good thing. But at any given time, there's probably 10 to 15,000 clearing a minute. So it
So
takes
that's quite a lot.
it's quite a lot, and I can't see that it would get considerably larger. But currently, the system is holding it well. I did set it up pretty much handle about twice this amount. So every time we kind of have an issue where things get stuck, I go in there and I double the resources and the processing speed. Basically, just because I can't make it process any faster, so I run them in parallel. So I've got, I think currently 6 scripts that just sit there and process trades over and over and over again. And they're all processing a different segment of the population. So it kind of, spreads it out across different processors. So, we can process, 6 loads of trades at the same second. Um, so, it kind of keeps up with the load. But when you get behind by 2 minutes, all of a sudden it comes 30 minutes. And especially with raids, if you think about raids, if raids go down for 30 minutes, then you have to start catching up those 30 minutes. And then they're recurring, so every time you're processing one, another one is getting set up that you have to process again, and another one that's set up that you have to process again. So you end up having to process the same raid 10 times in order to catch back up to real time. So that's why sometimes when I've gone in there and fixed it, it still takes an hour or two just to catch up, because those 30 minutes hit hard when there's 21,000 out there.
Yeah.
They fall behind very fast.
Yes, they do. And raids can also are also a lot more to process than trades. Trades are just kind of like dumping the resources in there, but raids, they actually have to hit the dungeons and calculate how many troops are going to be there, what kind of resources they come home, things like
Generate
that.
the report. Yeah.
Generate the report. So that takes a bit more time. But I think that at the moment we're handling the processing of stuff pretty well. If anything, attacks are actually the lowest number of things that get processed, which is surprising. But I mean, right now there's 619 attacks out. So if you
That's not
compare
so bad. Seen more
619
attacks people.
attacks to, you know, 21,000 raids, it's a big difference. So I hope that answers questions and gives some people insights into the things that we're dealing with all the time.
Silken says she is clicking as fast as she can to get your processing up.
Yeah, and it's funny because once I get the trade counselor working faster and faster, then I've got to bump up the trade processing because it's sending so many more trades per second. So it's every time that I adjust or make the trade counselor run faster, I also go in and adjust and make the trade processing run faster just as a preemptive. Some new things that we did add in, if that answers everybody's question sufficiently, probably more than everybody wanted to know. Yeah, and one of the things that I'm actually planning on doing is consolidating the trades because I would imagine that the majority of people have outgoing and incoming requests set to one city to make it so it lumps them together. That would cut the trades down by like a fourth probably. Although a lot of people don't need the same resource at the same time, even if it's only two of them, it would cut it by half. So that's something I'm going to do over the next week or so is figure out a way to put them in there so that the trades get sent out in one lump sum instead of as a bunch of different you know, smaller trades. There, I closed the world chat for some reason. I don't know, I wasn't even looking at it.
There was a couple of people who decided to have all caps Sunday and were shouting in all chat because they knew that they were on the stream.
Having fun.
We'll write down the names and we'll give them a nice little ban for a while. We also put in some things like or shift up. So if you shift up on a city, it will set the queues all the way up to level 10 for that city.
Is it shift up or shift U?
Shift U.
Yeah, and then also the number buttons work to take your building to that level.
But as you can see, I made it so that it will, if you don't have the resources, it just automatically puts them into the queue with the counselor, if you have counselors.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
By hotkey?
So,
By hotkey.
Yay!
so if you click on an empty
Converting.
space and click B, like for barracks, it'll just add like a level 1 barracks with a queue with counselor.
That is exactly what everybody's been asking for.
Oh,
It's
yay.
a shortcut for the queue with counselor. Yes.
Yay.
Very cool.
It also does the same thing with quick build.
Cool.
So if you do quick build and I want to build,
And you run out of, say, wood, it'll keep adding buildings just
well,
with queue with
like
counselor.
here, I'm out of building spots, but it will still just put them in queue with counselor.
Nice.
They also want a key now to fill the build queue. And I'm not exactly sure how that worked because I never used that function of tweaks.
Basically, it would just go through and select the next 16
Lowest.
buildings
Yeah.
that the counselor would build and builds them all. We can put that in. That's not that hard to do.
Imp asks, is there any temple shipping tools yet? We do plan on adding them eventually, maybe even by the end of third beta, but not this week.
We do have the request resources, which kind of would do that,
Yeah, that's true.
where you can request a resource and, see what each city has and request it. So I mean, that
But
would
if
kind of
it's
do
a
the same thing.
temple, well, I guess
Oh
we could.
yeah, would it be
Oh,
a no? We'd have it down there. Normal trade or
oh
temple
yeah, look
trade.
at it there in the corner. Normal trade or temple trade.
Yep.
Does that work?
Yeah, it should.
Okay,
I don't know. We put it in a while ago, but I'm pretty sure it works.
I'm sure we would have heard about it if it didn't.
Yeah.
If anybody's used it. Um, but as Alan mentioned, the number keys, like here I've got this level 1 cabin selected, so if I want it to go to level 6, I can just press the 6 key, um, and it will queue them up all the way to level 6, and it converts the order, or it turns it into a queue if I don't have the resources for it. So that should save a lot of people a lot of headache.
Tasselhoff, I haven't heard of anyone having counselors not working when offline for a while. Are you still having problems with that?
Yeah, so far everybody that had said that they were having issues with them has told me today that they've all been working great, and yesterday.
Yeah. When was it I did all that work on them? Was it Saturday or was it uh, Friday?
Okay, so apparently Mean Grumpy is having issues this weekend. I have not heard that, but okay. We'll look into that. Also, yeah, a couple of other people have said this too. Sometimes when you log into a sub, it doesn't actually show like their own information, and so you have to like log in twice to actually see your own information in a sub.
Yeah, that is something I need to work on. It's to make sure that that stuff works the right way. So I need to go in and see what the process is doing to make sure that when somebody accepts the sub, it works on the first time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I have a mail. Um,
Sam.
how do you block somebody? There is a way to block somebody on here, isn't there? Maybe it's in the whispers.
Actually, ignore doesn't work for males.
Oh, it
If
doesn't?
you ignore somebody,
should.
it doesn't work for males.
No, it's
I
on our
had
big list, but just-
I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was Sam that I tested it on. I told him to ticket it.
yeah, it was Sam. Yeah, so that's on the bug list. Frank says yes, it doesn't.
I'm going to write a ticket and report him.
Tessel, yes, the defense counselor has been fixed so that it should recruit multiple types now, but there still might be a little problem with the ships, which Gordy's going to look into.
Yep, that is on the list of stuff to look at today. Is when
But
shifts not
like Rangers and Triaris should recruit evenly now, depending on the ratio that you have them set for.
Look, the block worked for me for males.
The master list for bugs changes way, way too often for us to actually post it and keep it updated.
Yeah, and
So if you have an issue, ticket it. Don't worry about whether you're overwhelming us. Just ticket it.
I burn through them pretty fast too when they pop up. So, but a lot of times we don't have enough information on a bug, so it's kind of something that I sit there and think about until somebody sends a ticket that makes kind of sense of what actually is happening, and then I know where to go in and fix it. So, a lot of times I'll try stuff myself, and it'll work just fine. And so it takes me, there's some kind of obscure different variable that I'm not testing that changes it. And so it takes a number of people to actually figure out what's going on. I haven't even tested to see if the towers will still work. Oh, look at that. Even though the numbers are in, the towers still work.
Yeah, that's something else. What Doc just said is the icons for being attacked or sieged are not always going away like they should.
Okay. Yeah, I knew that one. I just was more worried about getting the counselors working over the past week or so. So that's something I can get in there and fix.
We have patch notes with the fixes that we've implemented.
Yep, and I try to keep them updated as much as possible. Um, Sometimes I hold back all the front end patches for when we do an actual maintenance, um, because nobody's going to see them. So if I put it into the patch notes, it's something that I've done. Um, People are going to say this isn't working, and it's because I haven't actually put it into the front end yet. So sometimes you'll see like our patch notes will have a really long list on them, and that's because those are the things that actually get pushed to the server. And then sometimes I'm working on one solid thing for a couple days straight, and so there's not much to put in there for patch notes. One thing I did do, which really bugged me sometimes when I would jump into people's accounts, is I went in and I made it so that these sort properly now, because that was really driving me crazy with the alliance leaders on top and the officers, and it just wasn't sorting correctly. It was sorting alphabetically, not by their actual rank. Um, Also, the titles work right, as well as the incoming times. If you've got times on your incoming that are the next day or something, then those would get sorted on top. So now they should all sort properly.
The TS sort on attacks. It only sorts the first digit. Oh, and the incoming?
Yeah, that's one of the things I fixed.
Okay. So that'll be fixed for the patch.
I fixed all the sorts. I fixed all the enlightenment blessings. So these, three menus, all the sorts should be working properly after the patch.
Cool. And that's at 10 o'clock tonight, server time.
Right.
Posting a list of bugs that are not fixed yet. That's what I was talking about. It changes so fast that we would never be able to keep it updated. Remember, there's just three of us. So we'd never be able to keep it updated fast enough.
It's
Yeah.
also kind of to do with that. I think that if we had, a bug list of current bugs, I mean, that there's a reason that we haven't solved them yet. Is that we're still looking for the reason, and I think that if people were to see on a bug list, oh, that this bug is on it, that they probably wouldn't ticket it then. And we want them to be ticketing things that are current bugs because we're looking for as much information as possible on those bugs.
Right.
So I think it would actually be kind of counterproductive to what we're ultimately trying to achieve if we had a published bug list.
Oh, my cursor is way off. Isn't that weird?
Weird.
Oh, look, it doesn't even go over all the way.
Strange.
Um,
Is that the stream software doing that?
yeah,
Or,
it is.
okay.
Yeah, and as far as I'm not worried so much about the exploits, because anytime a serious exploit comes up or something's going on, I drop everything and fix that right away. So I'm not worried about posting those, but it's like getting the fresh perspective of somebody without any kind of bias of something they've read before.
Right.
It also takes away some of the me too's. A lot of times you'll get bugs, and somebody else will say, "Oh yeah, yeah, I have that," and then their issue will be something completely different, and user related or something like that. But it makes kind of gives people the idea that something that's happening might be a bug, and when it's actually not. So we'd like the actual raw, this is a bug because this is happening kind of information for people. I don't
Yeah.
think you'd get the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, I did notice that sorting stuff was getting annoying. I even fixed this uh, members window so that now you can sort these properly too.
Awesome.
Oh, awesome. People will be so happy. Do the online and offline icons sort now?
Oh yeah,
Or is it different?
the icons actually sorting. That's a good one. I actually haven't fixed the icons to make them accurate yet, which I need to do. So um, I'll I'll probably make those work properly first before I put in the sort form. Um, but yeah, I'll make sure to do that.
Silken asks, will there ever be Denari sales?
Um, yes. In fact, I offered Sam a great deal on one the other day. Um, I offered him, 90K denarii for 49.99 at a great discount. Um, but yes, we will eventually have sales, and we're going to set up some kind of, maybe some kind of recurring thing that gives people a good discount the longer it's recurring, so that people who, you know, are frequent spending, and stuff get a better and better deal as time goes on. But we will have deals and bundles, and um, you know, I'd like to put in something down the road where, you're not actually getting the denarii credited to your account, but getting like an email with the code so that you can buy denarii for other people. Because I know a lot of people would like to be able to gift it. Maybe for an alliance leader or something, they want to put together some stuff so they can gift one member, a month of counselors or something like that. But all that kind of stuff will add in eventually. It's just, we're trying to get the game working as fast as possible, and all that other stuff takes a lot of time to implement and do the back end to make sure it processes it correctly.
Right, right. Does the trade request between continents have an implementation time frame? It shouldn't, right? It should just run normally.
It should just run with the regular counselor, I think.
Trade requests between continents, like when you're asking for ships to send, is that what they're talking about?
I don't know. Yes.
That
Yes,
should run
yes.
at the same exact time as the regular request.
Yeah. Subs can abandon if they're given permission to, right? You fixed that?
They should be able to. Um, I haven't tested that in a while, but if anybody wants to give me their sub and let me abandon a bunch of their cities, I'll probably just drop a bunch and then give Ala the sub and let her try to abandon them and give it a test.
Sounds good.
But when we did test it before, it worked.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. The number shows up, but then you can't see the actual mail. That's kind of annoying. I'll have to put the block into the numbers too. Yeah, the it did go top right, left bottom for a while, but then it was acting funny, and mostly it was the way that I was sorting it. So basically, the way that it's sorting right now is temporary. So it's not how it's going to be at the end game. It will be changed, but right now it's just doing like a pure level sort, so it's random. But I will put back in the top left, right, or top to top left to right bottom kind of order that was there before. Um, when I get around to um, looking at that again, but no, that's not permanent. That is just current, so that it upgrades the right levels of buildings at the right time. That was mostly preemptive until I can figure out exactly why it would skip around and build things that were higher when it shouldn't. So, there's a lot of code involved in that, and it's something I have to dig into. But it's better than them being completely weird and upgrading level 9s when there's level 1 sitting around. If only there were more time in the day.
Yeah. We need Gordy clones.
I don't know. 5 of me, and we'd stop programming and just start taking over the world. So yeah, this button looks like it works really well when you press the key. Like I just pressed the 9 key, and it's taking the cabins up to level 9.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Goldwolf says that the construction counselor still isn't working right. He has a forum level 5 upgrading right now where he still has a level 2 stonemason that's just sitting there.
Okay. So it must not be the sort order. It's got to be something else. Um, I can't imagine it would have to do with the counselor settings changing because they're really kind of independent of each other. So there's got to be one little line or something in there that's making them go out of order. So I'll dig into it and make sure that they work. Um, now that the counselors are kind of sorted out, I've got a little bit more time to mess around with the new world map and fix other things like the counselors and things like that. And we do need to put in 48-hour notices about counselors going away because I saw somebody complain about their counselor not working because they went away.
Yeah, we need to get those in.
There
We do
is-
actually have a way to get those in kind of fairly easily. You just need to think of a way to do the notification.
Yeah, and do it so that it doesn't spam,
Spam people.
Although that might be effective, just send you a mail because I think I'm going to do them through mails. Um, because that's the way to assure that somebody gets it, whether they're online or offline. If you do it in a notification pop-up, it's kind of iffy if they're clicking through a whole bunch of them and they don't see it. But a mail, people would generally see. So just make it so that you don't get one every second. Oh yeah, I could do an audio warning, that just repeats every second until you buy counselors. You have no counselors. You have no counselors. You have no counselors.
Well, and an auto renew is also been asked for.
Oh, auto
So if you
renew.
if you have the Denari to renew them, it will, if they choose it.
Do we have buttons for this? No, we don't. So Alan's gonna have to put in some kind of buttons for auto renew my counselors.
Yeah. So that's been
Sounds
a
good.
popular request.
Yeah.
I've asked a few people to ticket that suggestion, but I don't know if they did. So, yeah, those two things, the warning that they're going to expire in 24 hours plus the auto renew option would be really cool.
And probably a mail when they get auto renewed saying your counselors have been auto renewed.
Yeah. Also a good idea.
So yeah, those are all easily done.
Marty wants to know if anyone else just tried to upgrade the counselors on the stream screen.
The
The
cabins.
stream screen. Yes,
Stream screen.
that was a tongue twister. Oof. Sam, he can see you in the Hitbox chat.
I've got them on ignore. I can't see them.
He says you have his sub, but he's withdrawing it soon.
I can give it back to myself. I'm banned in a couple of cities.
Marty keeps trying to fix your cities,
My,
Gordy.
my cities are gorgeous. mean, look at this. Is that not a gorgeous city or what? I've got farms and four random academies down here for some purpose. And then, the barracks ring with a guardhouse and, the cabin to increase the production of the barracks. It's very important.
The second from the left barracks is crooked. Where?
And the storehouse gets bonuses from, the barracks around it and the cabins.
What troops do you have there? Marty wants to know.
I've got 5,763 city guards.
Well, obviously barracks are the thing to build then.
What I need the barracks for. That's why I built so many. Boxes with enough space, let us build in them. I don't know what that means.
There was a funny thing in chat that I whispered somebody to correct their assumption was that they thought barracks surrounding guardhouses would increase the speed of guard enlistment.
Okay,
I think
Sam's.
they do, actually.
I don't think they should.
They shouldn't.
They definitely shouldn't.
Oh.
Oh God. Sam elaborates on what you were asking. On region map, there are still spots that don't have anything on them, and it looks like you can build there, like settle there, but you actually can't.
Oh. Yeah, those are spots that redoing the regional map I missed. I'll go in and check some of them to see if they actually processed the cities. If not, I'm not touching it, because that's not something that I want to fool around with in the middle of a competition, because that is exactly how Oops happened. If anybody remembers the great Oops fiasco, that is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Was I tried to refill the squares and everything got deleted, so it's not something I want to touch while a live server's running. But if they're already there, I can turn off the front end to let you select them. So I'll have a look.
Doc has a good suggestion. Being able to expand the incoming, outgoing, blessing overviews window, make it longer, fill the screen.
Yeah,
We
I guess
did
we could do
actually
it.
talk about that the other day, and not only that, but making it so that it's not limited by this box here, so you could drag it probably all the way over to the left, so you could really expand it all the way out. I did over the past, maybe it was this week, where I put the incoming in, so you should now have incoming and outgoing exportable inside the overviews. But yeah, we can figure out a way to make it so that we can expand and that is not limited by this border right here like the other windows are.
Yeah. I remember doing that when there was a lot of incomings in other games. Making that window bigger so you could see more of it.
Yeah, that was also another suggestion that Ala has on her
We can
list.
make, some of the columns smaller. I've been meaning to do that all week, and I keep getting tied up with other stuff, but yes, I will do that.
Yes, Ala has the toughest job of all of us. She goes through the majority of the tickets and then has to hound me over them. So it is definitely a lot of work.
Yes. So when people tell me, hey, go ahead and close that ticket, it was my mistake or whatever, or I figured it out, I actually do go and close those tickets for her.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate it when you all tell me, hey, can you close that ticket? Because I have it figured out, because that just makes less work for her.
Hooray.
Yes, if anybody remembers the landmark moment of oops,
Reset.
that was
So that's what we don't want to repeat.
Right.
quite a fun day for me.
Yeah.
Lots of yelling. And that wasn't even a competition, that was just random gameplay back in the alphas. Could you imagine if it happened now?
Yeah.
Lynch mob.
Uh, the rating shouldn't have stopped. Shipping should have been fixed, but rating was never connected to the counselor, more or less. That's a command thing. Um, so raids should be going out, um, regardless if the counselors are working. But if anything, all the reports that I've gotten is that the counselors are working for pretty much everybody now, um, over the weekend. I think I fixed it either Friday or Saturday morning, but I've been tweaking with it over the whole past week. I didn't mess with them today though, um, mostly because people said they were working.
Yeah, I think the only thing that would stop raids is if the defense counselor wasn't enlisting replacement troops.
Yep, that would do it. It also depends on what kind of buffers you put in there and how fast they can build it. And that is still something we have on our list of stuff to do with the adding a checkbox to let your raids go until they all die. Remember we talked about that?
Yeah. Yes, there is a new overview. Outgoing attacks. Exportable.
Yeah, did Grumpy have food in his hubs and stuff to send it out? 'Cause, that's you know was there food? Were there carts? There's a whole bunch of variables that are in there, um, regarding whether or not something's working or shipping. Were the options set correctly?
So Tasso says that he did have food, but it ran out when his troops stopped raiding.
Everything on Continent 13 was not affected. Everything on 22 was.
Which is kind of strange that it would work for some cities and not other cities.
Yeah. Or on one whole continent and not another.
hmm I mean, I can look into his account and see what's going on. So I'll do that.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's where the checkbox would come in because I know sometimes the defense counselor, if it's off by one troop, it'll stop raiding. So if one raid stops and then another one, and they all stop at the same time, which would be even worse, um, that becomes an issue. Um, I'm not sure if you guys are staggering your raids, but that would help too. Because if they all come back at the exact same second, um, then there's a likelihood that they could all cancel out. Whereas if they're a second or 5 seconds apart, then the first one canceling out would give a bunch of troops for the other ones to keep going.
Is staggering fixed? Remember, it was sending one out right away and then the next one 15 minutes instead of 15 seconds?
I'll take a look, but if it's not, it will be fixed for the patch today.
Cool.
I think it's like arrival times were still working. It was just the departure times were a little funky. So I think
Yeah.
it didn't actually affect anything major. It just kind of looked weird.
And did the
Um,
what about like if you just sent them out now and the war counselor? Those,
yeah, well, it was with the war counselor that the staggering problem was. I think if you sent them all out at once, then they went straight away. It was only if you staggered them.
Yeah.
let me see.
It was doing the first one right away, and then instead of 15 seconds, it was doing 15 minutes for the next one to be sent out.
Um,
It was kind of weird.
intervals, 5 seconds. Let's send out 10, even though they're all going to die. 5536, 165541, 165546. I can see
Yeah, it
it's the.
looks.
So it looks like it's going in 5 seconds.
Yeah, looks like you got that fixing.
Yeah.
Cool. Very nice.
Yeah, I thought I had fixed it maybe 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks. It's been a while.
Yeah, I haven't actually tested that lately.
But yeah, something that we will get in this week is like a drop down box or something for like what percent of your troops you're happy to leave raiding, even if there aren't enough troops to completely refill the raid in the city, so that people don't get raids cancelling quite as much.
Yep. Just a checkbox that'll say, raid until all my troops die or something.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think we need the percent remainder,
Okay.
but we can just let them refill if they've got the troops, and if not, they just go.
Keep going. Yeah.
And that would save people from, being off 100 troops or something here or there, and the defense counselor being able to build them up in the time that they're traveling back and forth, and not changing the dungeon mix too much. And yes, before anybody comments, my raids do travel really, really fast, and that's because I am always testing things. So a lot of times I bump up my troop speed.
Are you on the developer server or the regular beta server?
Developer.
Oh, that could be it then. So maybe, yeah, I guess it will be fixed with the patch in a couple of hours' time, or the maintenance in a couple of hours' time then.
I thought I fixed it before the last patch. I mean, because the last patch was on the 17th. So
Oh,
not
he
the
says the
17th.
arrival times are all 5 seconds apart instead
Yeah,
of the
but no,
departure.
his all like Gordy's all left within 5 seconds as well.
Yeah.
Like you saw them kind of all going, like leaving.
But if the arrival
Um,
seconds are if the arrival's 5 seconds apart, then the departure would be 5 seconds apart.
no, that's the thing. It's the departure was off. Hang on, I'm in the beta server here. Let me try this.
I don't think I have enough idle trips home anywhere to test it online. Oh, yeah, I do. Never mind. I forgot I canceled all the raids in this city. Haha. Let me see. I'm using Vanquishers. Maybe it's something with the 15 seconds. I'm going to test the 15-second one because that's where I saw it before, too.
If it's 5 seconds off from the first one, then it is taking into account the 15 minutes if the first one is taking into account the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, I just got it, Gordy. It's,
Yeah, so did I. It's still 15 minutes.
yeah, it's 15 minutes instead of 15 seconds. So maybe it's in that specific stagger in 15 minutes instead of, or 15 seconds instead of 5 seconds.
No, I just did 5 seconds, and I'm on the beta server.
Okay.
Oh, well, it'll be in for patch.
Yeah. There you go. The other thing, yeah, so Tess said it isn't. No, Tess, did you say something about it? It isn't taking into account troop speed research. I think it should be.
I don't think I have any troop travel speed research done.
Let me do some here.
Oh, never mind. I do.
Oh, we can do this after the stream and figure it out.
Yeah.
So, if it's not penalizing the second raid with 15 minutes, that means that the second raid hits a lot faster than the first raid? It hits 14
No,
minutes
so-
and 55 seconds before the first raid?
Yeah.
No, it's literally just a weirdness with the departure time. So, like,
Yeah.
the arrival times are still staggered 15 seconds as they should be, but from the time that the first command leaves, the time that the next command leaves is 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So,
I
like,
just,
the arrival times are perfect. It's just the departure times.
yeah. I just gave you a screenshot, Gordy.
Yeah.
as my list of rates so that you can see exactly what it's doing.
Okay. I will take a look at it.
Cool.
But it's working properly, it's just the display's wrong.
No, it
No,
does leave
they're not
it
actually
departs
going
15
up.
minutes later.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, mine works, so it'll be fixed after 10.
Okay.
See, this is a normal how we figure out what's wrong.
Yeah, pretty much.
Normal conversation for us.
Yeah, I think it might have been maybe the Gordy that when you were putting it in, you did it for the 15-minute interval, and so just weirdly for that second raid, it just still kind of takes into account 15 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Okay. I will dig in and take a look at it.
Yay. Sounds good. We do get a lot of positive comments about the raid tool overall. So
I mean, the only thing it
It
doesn't
is
do
very
is
popular.
recommend troop numbers based on the dungeons, and there's a good reason for that. Is because if we started recommending troop numbers, people would go absolutely crazy when they get 99% raids or 100% effective raids because we recommended the troops. So as a game, we can never truly recommend the troops, um, just because they would have to be perfect every time. Um,
I mean, eventually, I guess in our information pages, we can give kind of general numbers. We'll kind of say that they're general numbers. But I think, yeah, for like actually showing them in game, I think it would be better if it was like a player script that would eventually be on the script market.
yeah, I've got
Yeah.
no problem with a player script doing it because then people complain at the script market, which is completely different than the actual game, giving people numbers that don't produce 100% raids every time, um, which is almost impossible since it's got a random element in it. So, and also, might as well just take out rating altogether and give people a steady income of resources if we start doing all the work for everyone. If other people want to write scripts that do display things for it, that's fine. But making the game too easy as a base just kind of you know ruins it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tassel says that apparently there are already documents in existence that show all of the correct amounts. So if maybe someone could work those into a script, then I guess that would probably be helpful to people.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's people out there working on scripts, so
Yeah, I
we'll
believe
see.
there are. So yeah, exactly.
Which is probably really frustrating right now because the code changes so much.
Yes. As soon as somebody's got something figured out, I've changed the whole thing around and they've
Demo
figured it out.
node button, Sam, is D. Just hit the
I think
D
he means
key.
like a button that you click,
Clears the
at the
center.
top. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
But
yes, but I want to put one in that says demolish all nodes with powder. Because I'd imagine that would be the most clicked button in the game. Um, so we're about 4 minutes over. We can go another 10 or 5 minutes or so if people have got more questions. Yeah, the price of them is an offset of the mana cost, so you're paying more, but it's also not taking away the charisma as much as like a 10-hour speed up is. So I think it's only costing 50 charisma at the moment. So that is the trade-off between price, and it's not something that changes the game too drastically by having the ability to remove res nodes. Now, if we made something that gave people the ability to move them, that would change a lot for resource cities and stuff. So, but destroying them, just kind of optimizes your troop cities, which you know generally is going to take them a week to build up to full strength anyway. So it's not like a couple extra hours is going to make a big difference.
Tier wants to know if you've ever had a pet. Yeah, he has dogs.
I have dogs. I've got 2 dogs.
I'm the one with the cats. Well, Ala has cats now too.
Yeah.
Yeah, 80's got like 167 cats.
What?
I think she adopted one out though, so 166. And when she leaves the server at 9 o'clock, it's because she shaves them all. So she takes a couple hours off to, you know, systematically go through. And once she's done with the 166th one, she's got to start back again at the first one because it's regrown all its hair. So
Crazy Horse asks, will there be another beta and will it be with or without night protection? The next server that we have after this will be open beta. Will it be with night protection? I think it
Yes.
could be.
it will
Yeah.
be. We're definitely going to have night
And
protection.
the new protection also.
Yep.
And we're
Yeah.
also going to have the item where you can't be attacked.
Oh, the protection
I
item.
can't remember the name of my
Oh,
for that.
Hand of the Gods.
Hand of the Gods. Yes, that's it.
Yeah, it's we're definitely going to put that in for the next one.
Yeah, so that will be in from the next server and from all servers onwards.
I think the open beta will be normal speed too.
Yes, it will. Regular,
It'll be a
completely
live
regular.
server
Yeah.
with the report a bug function still there.
No, I reckon that we'll keep it there because we use
Oh,
it
yeah.
for report a player too.
Yeah.
It's kind of the best way to get in touch with the development team. So maybe we change it to report a bug to report an issue or something, but I'd imagine we keep that button there. I don't have any mails.
See?
No mails. All right. Well, if nobody else has any questions, we'll get back to work. Get everything prepared for the patch tonight. Get a few of those things in that we mentioned. I'll try to get them in for tonight's patch as well. As well as some, different fixes to like keep the black screen from coming up. So I'll try to work that in as well.
Sounds good.
So thank you guys for tuning in. We will be here next week at the same time, and we'll see you in chat as well. And I hope everybody's having a good time in the beta. The server's going pretty well. People are building, temples and getting their temples up. So, it kind of cascades from here where people start getting their faith all the way up. And I haven't even looked at the temple
Loyalty.
rankings in a while. Loyalty, yes. Yeah, the numbers are getting up there pretty well.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see who actually pulls off the wins, because I think people have a bunch of level 1s and 2s, but who can actually fill the level 10s will be the big test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone.
Yep. Thank you guys for joining us, and thank you for playing.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next week.
Have a great week.